Today's episode was far from a boring pit stop or a filler episode. There was a plethora of important stuff in Chapter 12, so let's jump in. The Father of the Year award does not go to Din Djarin. It's pretty clear that Din is not prepared to be a father, and that's been a reoccurring theme throughout this season. I don't have kids of my own yet, but I can't imagine a scenario where I'm sending a toddler to reroute wiring. The episode kicks off by showing us that the Razor Crest is in no shape to complete the journey to Corvus and Ahsoka Tano. So Mando and the child make a pit stop on Navarro where they're reunited with some old friends. In the next scene, we get to see Cara Dune taking out a gang of Aqualish, who, believe me, just don't like Cara Dune. This fight took place in the old Mandalorian hideout on Navarro, and we also learn that Cara Dune has become the Marshal of Navarro. Navarro has changed a lot since Season 1, where it used to be a hub for the Bounty Hunters Guild and a plethora of scum and villainy. It's now been transformed into a peaceful settlement due to Greef Karga and Cara Dune's leadership. This leads us to the major plot of the episode. While Din has some free time on his hands, as it'll take a while for the Razor Crest to be fixed, Karga and Cara Dune request that he help them take out an old Imperial base. This is the base where all of the stormtroopers and Moff Gideon came from at the end of Season 1. They believe that the base is operated by a skeleton crew and it is just waiting to be ransacked by black market sellers, so they hope to destroy the facility before all of the heavy weapons are found and integrated into the black market. However, it becomes pretty clear that there is more going on in this empty base. In addition to more stormtroopers than anticipated, the team discovers that this base is actually a lab being used for what appears to be some sort of cloning project. And this is the most important part of the episode. After setting the base to explode, the crew stumbles on some scientists who are wearing the same uniform as Dr. Pershing from Season 1. They fail to adequately destroy the information before being killed by Mando and his crew. The recovered information plays a 3-day-old holo transmission from Dr. Pershing to Moff Gideon. He mentions things like M-counts, failed blood transfusions, and the child. Now, the interesting part of this is that M-count is most likely referring to midichlorians, which we first learned of in The Phantom Menace.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
They live inside me.
Inside your cells, yes. And we are symbionts with them.
While the subject of midichlorians is complicated, a basic understanding of it suggests that an individual's midichlorian count within their blood seems to have an effect on their ability to connect with and harness the living force. Qui-Gon talks about Anakin having a higher midichlorian count than even Master Yoda after he takes a blood sample from a young Skywalker. My guess is that Dr. Pershing and his team are attempting to use the high M count of the child to give these volunteers, as they're called, a higher M count and therefore higher force sensitivity or abilities. Something of that sort. But the implications of this are huge for the scope of Star Wars. We know that Palpatine was working on cloning, and that is how he was able to return in Episode 9. I've always thought that one goal of this show would be to bridge the sequels and the original trilogy, at least in some capacity. It could be that we're seeing the beginning stages of the cloning work that will bring back Palpatine and create Snoke. There's even a moment when the crew is staring into a vat and sees a mysterious figure that really does look like it could be Snoke, and with a theme that sounds eerily similar to Snoke's theme playing in the background, it certainly seems like they're at least making a connection to the cloning work we see in Episode 9. Though it is possible this figure is an early attempt at creating Snoke, it's not confirmed yet, so we can't hold to that as fact. In addition to a sequel trilogy connection, this episode takes us into some strong Star Wars Legends territory. We know in Legends that Palpatine returned through cloning as well, and that there were many catastrophic failures throughout the process of cloning such a powerful Force user. I think it will be really interesting to see where this goes. In Season 1, we speculated that Dr. Pershing was a cloner based off his emblem that was a callback to the Kaminoans. This episode answers many of those early speculations, but it also gives us more questions. From here, the episode plays out in a chase that had several nods to the speeder bike chase in Return of the Jedi. And a couple interesting things happen when everyone returns safely back to town. The New Republic is there, specifically the same X-Wing pilot who helped Mando escape from the spider infestation. Now at first it appears that this pilot is following up on the destruction of the old Imperial base. Greef even makes a comment about why the New Republic even bothers with the Outer Rim if the Empire couldn't even settle it. However, the pilot says a couple of things to Cara Dune, who is a Rebel veteran. He tells her that he suspects there is something weird going on in the Outer Rim. But not everyone on the core worlds believe that. This is actually really important to me because we know that the Resistance was founded by Leia as a response to the growing power of the First Order in the Outer Rim.
All remaining systems will bow to the First Order!
Leia formed the Resistance because the majority of the core worlds and the New Republic did not believe the First Order was anything more than a small remnant of the Empire and nothing to worry about. So this pilot sharing his suspicions with Cara Dune seems to be another bridge from Episode 6 to Episode 7. He also shares his condolences as Cara is from Alderaan and lost everyone she knew. I think that we're going to see a cool character development in Cara Dune. While she fought with the rebellion, she did remove herself from all of that. Wouldn't it be cool if Cara Dune becomes an early part of the Resistance? The last big thing we see is that Moff Gideon had hired someone to put a tracker on the Razor Crest. Now, this creature appears to be the same species as the Sith assassin Ochi of Bastoon, who killed Rey's parents, and I wonder if there actually will be any connection to Ochi later, or if this was just a random alien of the same species. Moff Gideon is standing in a room that has some mysterious, dark, almost mechanical-looking figures being prepped for what we can only assume is the mission to reacquire the child, or as Gideon refers to him, the asset. My guess is that he and these dark figures will follow Mando to Corvus and make a move to reacquire the child so that they can use all of his blood to fuel their work. Being that the next episode is directed by Dave Filoni, and knowing that Mando is going to Corvus to find Ahsoka Tano, I think it's safe to assume that Ahsoka will reveal herself and help Mando and the child escape the clutches of Gideon. Of course, we're all excited to see Ahsoka Tano, but most of us figured it wouldn't happen in this episode. But this episode was far from a filler. Though it began as a pit stop on Navarro, it ended up by answering some key questions and raising some new important questions that will propel the show's story forward. I'm really excited for the implications of this interesting episode to play out. Let me know in the comments below what you enjoyed about Chapter 12 of The Mandalorian. As always, have a great rest of your day or night, and may the Force be with you.